amazing how easily Spirit comes through to us when we get the busyness of the day out of the way, when we get quiet, like around 1 a.m. or so? Christmas peace, that's what we talked about last week. How many of you have been practicing choosing peace over the hecticness of this time of year? Betty, come on.
Not hectic.
Please tell me you're taking something home with you. Okay. I told you a story last week, a story from my life about choosing peace, and I thought the story was over. And I found out this week it's not. The story I told you last week was how I was in rather a tizzy. We are expecting company, dear friends of ours that are going to be joining us for 4 or 5 days over the New Year's holiday. And we had selected a couple of Twin City events to enjoy together while they were here. But when I finally got their exact travel dates and jumped online to book the tickets we needed, they were all sold out for days, leading up to New Year's, for days after New Year's. And I was not a happy camper. In fact, I was pretty upset and trying to figure out, well, now what are we going to do? We got these friends for 5 days. We want to show them the best the Twin Cities has to offer, and the best seems to be sold out. Well, I kind of tromped around the house for a while, mulling on this, and I thought, now wait a minute. There are alternate ways to get tickets. So I got online and I started digging around and eventually came across somebody who was selling 4 tickets New Year's Eve to the dinner show out at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater where they're doing Holiday Inn. And that was one of the things on our list that we really, really wanted to do. So I immediately texted this guy and I said, are the tickets still available? I'm interested. And he responded, he said, well, someone else has already expressed an interest and I'm going to be meeting with him in a few days, so I'll let you know if things don't pan out. As I shared with you last week, I still wasn't a happy camper until I walked into my office and pulled up last Sunday's message on my computer screen where it reminded me that I could choose peace instead of my befuddlement, my upset. And I chose peace. I thought, tickets, that's really cool if we could have them, but am I willing to sacrifice my peace over the lack of a few tickets, for crying out loud? You ever have those conversations with yourself? So I chose peace, and we talked about that quite a bit last week. I got a text this week, around about Wednesday, from this fella on Craigslist saying, it looks like the other party that was interested is not going to follow through. Are you still interested? I said, well, yeah. So we, between his travel schedule and our schedule, we finally connected yesterday. And Lee and I are now proud owners of 4 tickets for New Year's Eve, the place we wanted to be, out at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater. The seller is thrilled. He was so happy to unload these tickets. He gave them to us at a discount. And we were so thrilled that we accepted them. But what was so interesting to me that I want to share with you is, after choosing peace last week, despite my human disappointment, the whole week unfolded like that. Every little thing just seemed to fall in place with such ease and such elegance. And then when my new best friend Steve contacted me and said we could have those tickets we wanted, that was just one more piece of the puzzle where we got to experience joy. And I was thinking about that, and I thought, okay, the peace is nice, and the week just flowed beautifully. And because I was in a place of peace, we have to remember we're energetic beings, I was not broadcasting an energy of discontent. I was broadcasting an energy of peace and receptivity. And all kinds of things, including the tickets, flowed into my life in response to that energy of peace and receptivity. And when those things started popping left and right, I began to really connect in a very meaningful way with our lesson for today, and that's joy. You know, even when things aren't going well, we can be peaceful and we can be joyful. And the more we focus on centering ourselves in peace, the more we become aware of opportunities to be joyful. I'm standing up here juggling paper too, Sherry. Everybody does it. I want you to think of joy, J-O-Y, as an acronym. The journey of yes. In other words, saying yes to life's gifts. And that means paying attention and noticing those wonderful gifts that life gives us. Like peace, joy is an internal job. It's a state of mind that we can cultivate regardless of what's going on in the world around us, regardless of the circumstances we find ourselves in. Even in the midst of challenges and disappointments, we can find something to be joyful about. How many of you noticed over the last couple of days the sunshine? And we're joyful and connected with it and celebrated it. It's a little thing and it can be a big thing as we pay attention to the gifts the universe has for us and acknowledge them with joy. It's also not how much we have in life, but it's how much we enjoy what we have that actually makes happiness. There's a book called Some Are Born Great by an author named Adela Rogers, and she says this: joy seems to me to be a step beyond happiness. Happiness is sort of an atmosphere you can live in sometimes when you're lucky. Joy is that light that fills you with hope, faith, and love. Joy, hope, faith, and love. Those are the four key ideas that we're exploring here in this season of Advent, leading up to Christmas, and what we recognize in unity as the birth of that divine presence in us. In The Quest, and this is a study created by some unity authors, they say when you touch the Christ of your being and can rest for a few moments in that sense of trust and peace which you find there, you automatically overflow with joy. This feeling is totally spontaneous and has nothing to do with what's going on in your life. And back in the 19th century, the French philosopher Chardin put it this way: joy is the most infallible sign of the awareness of the presence of the divine. How many of you are familiar with stories of saints that experience absolute ecstatic joy as they connected with the divine, with Mother, Father, God, as they understood God? Now, there are a couple of things we have to be aware of. We have to watch out for joy stealers. Joy stealers are things like gossip, criticism, complaining, fault-finding, negative, judgmental attitudes. I know we never go there. Sometimes people around us do. And when we notice it, for our own joy and for the joy of others, we need to either redirect those attitudes or step away from them. Why would you want less joy in your life? Why would you complain and gossip and fault find? All that does is hurts you more than anybody else. Nurturing joy is a lot more fun and a lot more fulfilling. So how do you nurture joy? Let me read a book to you. You've probably seen this in our bookstore. It is a wonderful gift. It's called The Book of Joy. It's a series of interviews with His Holiness the Dalai Lama and with Archbishop Desmond Tutu. These two wise, gifted spiritual leaders met a few years ago to explore what is joy and how do you experience joy in your life. The Dalai Lama says joy is our essential nature. It's something everyone can realize. Our desire for happiness is, in a way, an attempt to rediscover our original state of mind. Joy is our natural state of being. We just need to go back there. We need to rediscover it by nurturing it. He goes on to say, while the joy of the senses is brief, joy at deeper levels is much longer lasting. That is true joy. We must develop this deeper level of joy through training of the mind. Then the pleasures of the senses become less important. Joy and happiness come from within. The training of the mind. We talk about that pretty regularly here, don't we? We call that meditation. We call that getting quiet and going within and connecting with this great intelligence that created all things and resting, simply being in that connection. If you delve into this book, you'll discover they describe 3 pillars of joy that seem to have the greatest ability to influence and increase our own experience of joy. The first is our ability to reframe any situation positively. In other words, look at whatever's going on in your life, even if it's not pleasing to you, and find somewhere, somehow, some good. Something about that scenario you can appreciate. You can truly allow yourself to feel joy about. The second pillar of joy is our ability to experience gratitude. Well, we talked about this recently at Thanksgiving time, didn't we? The power of gratitude and how we can be grateful in all things, which is not the same as saying being grateful for all things. But once again, in every situation, there are things we can find to be truly and sincerely grateful for, to be truly and sincerely joyful for. Reframing a situation positively and experiencing and expressing gratitude. The third pillar of joy is making a choice to be kind and generous. It's something we practice here at Unity of the Valley all the time as well. We call it sharing our joy. As we ground ourselves in spiritual ideas and practices, key of which, of course, is meditation, we open ourselves to the divinity that's in us and all around us. And we open our spiritual eyes and our human eyes to what is there for us to be joyful for. Then we can allow that joy to organically take us to gratitude. One of the best ways to embrace joy and nurture it and enhance it in your life is to share it. I realized this when I discovered the tickets were ours this week. I could hardly wait to try to lean down and say, honey, we got the tickets. And I was real aware that as I said, we got the tickets, how much more joy I was feeling than when the news originally arrived on my cell phone. When we share our joy, we enhance it, we expand it, and we bless ourselves with it, and we bless others with it. How many of you have experienced true joy by hearing of someone else's joy? Yeah, a lot of us have. When we share our joy, it blesses everyone. Think about our angel tree that we had out in the lobby, the gifts that we purchased for people that might not otherwise have Christmas gifts. Did that bring you joy? Sharing what you had with someone else? What a wonderful opportunity to nurture joy and experience it. How about the joy of giving your special financial gift to our spiritual community? A number of you who've made a special gift to our community have talked to me about the joy and the delight that they have experienced in making that extra contribution. By the way, there's 2 weeks left, and we're doing really well on our leaderboard. Check it out in the lobby. Think about the joy of giving presents at Christmas time. You select something for someone you love that you think they're going to love, and don't we all sit there kind of with bated breath, watching the expression on their face as they open the gift, and they register joy and delight. Your joy and delight in giving the gift is multiplied. I know we've all experienced that. Sharing our joy, sharing the experience of joy enhances it for all of us. We even have an opportunity to share joy with one of our congregants. You may have noticed in our bulletin that Ron Benner is recovering from a very serious infection. After 10 days in the hospital, he's finally home, but he's needing help, changing bandages, and some of us are bringing culinary creations to him because he's supposed to be off his leg, allowing it to heal. And I know as hard as that is for Ron, who loves to cook, that means he's got to stay out of the kitchen for a while. But reaching out to someone like Ron, what an opportunity to experience joy in the giving and to experience joy in his receiving. Desmond Tutu tells us, the more we turn toward others, the more joy we experience. And the more joy we experience, the more joy we can bring to others. The goal is not to create joy for ourselves, but to be a reservoir of joy, an oasis of peace, a pool of serenity that can ripple out to everyone around you. Joy, in fact, he says, is quite contagious, as is love, compassion, and generosity. Peace, gratitude, and joy are all vibrations of the highest caliber, and when we share our joy, it lifts us up, it lifts others up, and everyone is blessed. There's a woman sitting in her office talking on the phone, and as she did, she was making all these hand signals. And one of her colleagues noticed that she was doing something interesting with her hands. And when she got off the phone, he went and he said, What's with all of this? And she said, I'm doing a mini dance of joy because I finally got the information I needed. How cool is that? A tiny little moment in her life, just getting information, and she could not contain it and had to let her hands express her joy. She gets it. She celebrates the little delights in life. Experiencing, expressing, and sharing joy through caring for others are optimal ways to celebrate joy this season. Joy, immersing ourselves in our own joy and sharing it, draws us closer to that innate divinity, that spark of God within us. Joy is our natural state of being. So to connect with joy, not just this Christmas season, but all year long, we center ourselves first in peace. And then we look for something in every situation to be joyful about. And then we express that joy. We nurture it. We build on it. We celebrate it. And we share it. Joy is the journey of yes. Saying yes to all of life's little delights. It's saying yes to life's gifts, wherever you find them, and saying yes to the journey of joy. So now that we have a deeper understanding of true and lasting joy, let's join together in our affirmation again. I give myself permission to feel joy over blessings large and small. Through my connection with Mother, Father, God, my joy is made full, and it is a Merry Christmas all year through. Blessings of joy.